Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. Here on The Point of View, we get the right topics, pick the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. It's an interactive show. We're live tonight with a big story. We've been following this story since Thursday. We went through the weekend. This morning on radio, we're on the story. Lots of our news bulletin an hour and a few minutes ago focused on this story. It's the biggest story in Ghana today. Devastation hits about 9 districts south of the Volta Lake because the Volta River Authority has spilled its waterways and it's caused devastation in the downstream of the river. We'll be getting all the angles for you. 2 of our reporters have been visiting some of the constituencies. Umaru Sanda Amadu, he's been to the Shai Osudoku constituency with some very serious stories. Fred Duho has been to the Tong districts. He's also been to other parts of the Volta region with stories as well. We would also be joined by the Deputy CEO of the Volta River Authority, who will be telling us the reasoning behind the spillage. And then I'll speak to Professor Chris Gordon, who will then give us some insights into the possible environmental and health hazards that the situation we have poses. So it's very serious. And while we do all this, City Media has launched a campaign to raise funds. We want to support victims of the flooding. We understand between 10 to 12,000 people have been displaced. We're asking you to support us with money, with water, with food, and with clothing. We'll tell you more when we come back. Stay with us.
How do I cope with this heat?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. So we have a lot to do today. My guest in studio first and foremost is Fred Duho. Fred went to the Volta region on Thursday. He was there on Friday. He was there throughout the weekend, and he's been there again today. He'll be telling us what he saw. We also have Umaru Sanda Amadu. He went to Asuchari and other parts of the Shai Osudoku area. He's joining us as well in studio in a few moments. But I just wanted to also tell you that my other guests would include the Deputy CEO of the Volta River Authority, Engineer Edward Eko Obin Kenzo. He's joining us digitally. He's been going around the whole area. He'll join me shortly, and then also Professor Chris Gordon. Let me start with Fred. Fred, thanks for joining the show. When you went on Thursday, you went on Friday, you went over the weekend, and then you went today, would you say the water level is rising? Would you say the situation is getting worse? How do you describe the past 4 days?
It's been very hectic, and I mean, the people are just trying to cope. They are finding means to adapt to the situation. This is a natural disaster. Well, natural in the sense that the rain pattern is unpredictable, and filling the reservoir, they also have no option. I mean, the technical men have no option than to spill the excess water from the dams. So largely it's natural and by extension man-made, okay, as far as the disaster is concerned. So from the look of things, I mean, the total number of people devastated as of now, at least 8,000 of them. That because
the Navy said they had relocated
about 8,000, not 80,000. 8,000, yes.
Because I heard Dr. Senanu Jokoto say he believes 12,000 people have been displaced.
Exactly.
So it's between that number.
Exactly.
He's Ghana Health Service.
Yes.
Because you can have somebody displaced but not being relocated.
Exactly the case. So, and a number of people have actually evacuated from their communities. They've gone to other neighboring communities, and some of it have even traveled to Accra.
Can you name the districts affected? Let's start with the districts. So Akosombo Dam, the dam is at Atimpoku. No, it's at Akosombo.
The dam is at Akosombo.
The bridge is at Atimpoku.
Exactly.
So Esojaman is one.
That is
where
one
else?
Of the,
which other district or constituency has been affected?
So the municipalities, you narrow it down from Asojaman municipality, you come to the where Sanda went to,
which is Shai
Osudoku. Then you come to the North Tong district. You move to Central Tong, South Tong. You go to the Adan West, Adan East.
Okay.
Then you head to Anglon district, talk of Keta, and then by extension, or to some large extent, the Ketu South municipality.
Wow, so everything below the Volta to the sea.
Exactly the case.
On the eastern part of Ghana.
Exactly the case. And you know, even if you are not affected directly by your community getting flooded, you are adversely affected in a sense that the debris that is being moved or carried by this flood ends up at the beaches of this Anglon, Keta, and Ketu South municipalities.
There are some videos you're showing me. What are these?
So this is Mefe, to be precise.
This is Mefe?
This is Mefe.
So the Volta,
and this is the
this is the Volta River on the left?
The Volta River right there.
Are you kidding me?
So you see this number of buildings that totally submerged in the water.
The motorbike is on the road.
Exactly.
So as of now, that part had not been inundated yet. These shots were taken when?
These shots were taken on Thursday.
On Thursday.
So what happened is that even on that same Thursday, you can see this road because these are elevated areas. But when you go further, as if you are going downstream on the same stretch.
So as we move left.
As you move left.
On the screen.
Yes, as if you are heading towards the Central Tong district, the road is now cut off by the same water.
So this is the beginning of the road.
Exactly.
So as we go left,
the road is cut off by the water.
So where is this?
This is also Mefe.
This is also Mefe?
Yes. And you see this number of buildings, the owners couldn't salvage anything.
So they had to leave.
They had no option than to leave.
So the road is on our right. So between the river and the road, all of this is Mefe. So as we went there today, has the road been submerged?
Not yet.
The road is still clear.
The road is still clear, and that's the prayer of the people. Because
so on the right side,
the moment it gets to the road, virtually the entire, or literally the entire community is gone. Because the most elevated area is the road.
Okay.
As you can see, the engineering work was done such that the road would, withstand this kind of issues.
Where is this?
So this is Mefe still, and you see the community.
Is that you in the yellow, in the blue shirt? Or you're not on this?
No, I'm not on this boot. So these are people finding means to. So that is you see those people using the canoe on that particular. That's the route. They're on the main road.
What is this?
This is the Akosombo Dam proper, and this is the main source of the spillage. 1,
2, 3, 4. Hold it there for me, guys. I want to count. I want to just count the number of. Take it up. There was one that was a bit higher. It's like there are about 7 or 8 channels.
So each side has 6 channels.
All right.
So they've opened, as of Saturday, they've opened 4 each.
So that's 8.
That's 8
so there's 2
out of 12.
Which was up to,
And that was done strategically because the term being used here is controlled spilling. They are equally picking feedback from what is happening at the various, the areas they've designated that as of when it gets to a particular level, this is what they have to do in terms of evacuation. Wow. So they are equally monitoring the situation to be sure that when they open the extra 2 gates, what will be the impact before they move ahead.
So they've opened 8 out of 12. So there are 4 more.
Yes, there is 2 more.
2 more. 8 out of 12.
Oh, okay. So there is 4 more. That is the case. We understand this place they have 12.
And then when you go to Mount, they have, I think.
No, sorry. This place they have 12.
Yes, because what Kenzo told me was that they are opening 8 out of 12.
Yes.
So that he had said that they were
4 more.
They were releasing 183,000 cubic feet per second.
Exactly.
And that they could increase that to up to 1 million. I'll bring him back.
So this is Akosombo.
This is Akosombo.
This is Akosombo.
All right.
Proper. Then we have the visual showing that of the Pong
So where is
station.
this?
So this is the downstream of the Akosombo.
So the water is coming from up there.
From up there. So it's descending to these satellite communities beneath.
So this area is within Akosombo enclave.
Exactly the case.
Did you visit these towns?
Yes, we went there. That is the Kukuntekpeji.
Kukuntekpeji?
Yes. Their main occupation.
That's on the left.
On the left.
And what's happening in Kukuntekpeji?
They do mainly fishing. and these are settlers.
Have they been inundated?
Exactly the case.
The water
they had some of their buildings even collapsed.
Kukuntekweji?
Yes.
All right. I wanted to just run through the communities briefly because I think Engineer Kenzo actually joined. Maybe let me put him on if Engineer Kenzo is on the line. Just give me a minute. Engineer Kenzo, good evening. Are you on the call? Obin Kenzo, are you on the call? Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard.
Wow, thanks for joining us. It's been a long day for you. Thank you so much. You sent us a list of communities that had been affected, and I just wanted to run through the list with you again, just to be sure the list has not changed. So for Norton, you gave me Vome, Tokotonu, Siko, Memoji, Aveime, Volokome, and Dofo Adidome. Is that accurate? For Norton, that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct?
That is correct.
And then Central Town, you give me Wadiwe Kome, Avadiwe Kome, Siame Kome, Devime Kepenu, Acheme Kope, Achem Kope, Aho Kope, Akpo Kope, Pogodo, or Pogode, Old Bakpa, and Mafi Dugame. Yeah. That's Central Town as well.
Exactly.
So that's also correct.
Yeah.
And then South Town had a lot. You had Amutinu, Avegueme, Zewenu, Afokbenu, Agome, Agodome, Asidohui, Fievie, Sogakope North Teple, Sokboe Vume, Alike Kope, and Chachu Kope. Correct?
That is correct.
Shai Osudoku had 3, Adakope, Abuvienu, and Abuviekpong. Also correct?
Yes.
Esojaman had 3, Ahinbrom, Jijokope, and Jokbo.
Yes.
And then Ada East, Azizanya, Tuanikope, Ajim, Alosedekope, and Anazome, and Keuse, Afievi, and Keuno.
Yes.
Is the situation in these areas normalizing, or is it getting worse, or is it getting better? What can you say, because you've been visiting all day, what can you say about these places you visited?
Okay, Bernard, today after taking a boat ride on some of the communities that have been affected, mainly in Mepe, we found out that the water marks have gone down a bit, which indicates that maybe the tide in the sea has subsided, so the water is flowing into the sea. We can understand that when the tide is very high, to not allow the water to flow into the sea, so the water will just keep at the back of the tide and spread out. So as we saw that the marks were going down, then we know that, okay, definitely the tide is low, so the water is running into the sea. So if we should continue, then we think that at least most of the water will run into the sea, and at least the levels of flood in these communities will recede. But as I said, the volume of spillage is the same. So it's a factor that we are facing is the tide. That will allow the water to flow into the sea. If it's not happening, then the water will stay in the community and spread out to other communities that have not been affected at the moment.
Right. You told me in the morning that 183,000 cubic, I think 183,000 something per second.
Cubic feet per second.
Was what you were releasing. But that
Yes.
you were able to increase that to 1 million if you had to. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is the design of the dam. The 12 gates can give us 1 million cubic feet per second.
And under what circumstance? Under what circumstance would you increase the 183,000? What would lead you to increase the 183,000?
Bernard, if assuming the inflows into the dam is somewhere around 1 million, and the headroom in the dam cannot contain that 1 million, then which whether the gate is capable to open to allow this water to flow out. But as I said, averagely, the water that has been coming into the dam is about 400,000 cubic feet for the past 1 week. But it has started reducing. So
yeah, because I was a bit alarmed in the morning when you told me that the dam maximum operating level was 277.50 feet, and that we were at on Saturday we were at 277.26. So my calculation was that you needed just 0.24 feet to reach maximum. So I was quite alarmed. Is that the case? And should I be alarmed?
As of this evening, the level is 277.32.
It's gone up?
Which means it's gone up a bit, but this level has been stable since 12 up to this 6 p.m. So we think that it's stabilizing. What we are anticipating is that the rise in the dam will not go more than 0.5 tomorrow. But if it should go beyond 0.5, we'll still be monitoring. As I said in the morning, we don't have intentions of increasing the spill at the moment.
So as we speak, we are still doing 183,000?
Yeah, we are still doing 183,000 since 10th October.
All right. Just give me some quick background. I know you may have said this already, but for those who don't know, you started the spillage middle September. Where did you reach in terms of the height of the dam before you started that spillage?
The spillage was, the level was 272. Thereabout. I'll get the correct figure. About 272. That's when we started. When we saw that the level was going up, that's when we started the spillage. Because
you had done a simulation in May, so in a sense you knew that you would have to spill. So even as of May, you knew you had to spill, right?
Bernard, I think there was a notion going around that we said that Ghana Met has misled us. That is not true. At the beginning of the year, the Ghana Met, Africa Weather Center, European Center, and Americans all told us that this year is going to be El Nino, which means the amount of water that we're going to expect is very, very small. But there was a probability in there that it can switch to high volumes of water. So we know that, look, if we should switch to the high volumes of water, with the data collected, we may hit the maximum height of the water. That's why we started the spillage at a 20,000 meter cube, hoping that any volume that will come, we can contain it. But we saw the water coming was going up, so we have to be increasing it gradually.
So some of the projection was wrong because the expectation was that the water level would be lower because of dry weather. But the wet weather misled you. So that's correct.
That's why when they do those projections, they give you that probability. Because they cannot tell how the weather will be like. But per data, they will know that, okay, maybe this year is going to be El Nino. You are going to have low water, low rainfalls, but with the probability that it can change into the wet. So if you are planning, you have to plan for both. So we're planning with that average volume of water that will come in. So we won't say that they misled us. It's a probability that you have to consider in your planning.
But is this just a rain issue, or it also includes a spillage of Bagre Dam issue? Because in the morning you said to me you didn't think there was anything to do with Bagre Dam, but I just chanced on a statement the VRA sent early September that the authorities in Burkina Faso had said to you they were going to spill the Bagre Dam. So just clarify for me, is your higher water level also a function of the Bagre Dam spillage?
Okay, Bernard, I'm sure last year Bagre Dam, they opened their gates. Bagre opens their gates every year. The volumes that comes in, the volumes in the dam allows us to hold the Bagre Dam. What happens is that it mainly floods the northern part of the country. That's why we are trying to construct the Palugu Dam at the north to prevent the flooding in the north. So if the Palugu Dam should come on board, the flooding, whether Bagre is open or not, the dam will hold that water and release it gradually into the mainstream, that is the water lake, to run down to the Akosombo Dam. I won't say it's a major factor, but we always get that information from Burkina Faso to alert our people in the north that they are going to open the dams. It may cause flooding, so you have to watch out. If you have anything to salvage, please make sure you salvage them, or you have to move to higher grounds and save your life. That is the information that we normally send out every year when the Burkina Faso want to open the Bagre Dam.
Yeah, but it means that the Bagre Dam is not just a question of people in the north and their safety, but also it will raise the level of water in the White Volta in particular. And these tributaries will feed into your source. So my point is that beyond the rain monitoring, the Bagre Dam could also mean that you are going to get more water than usual this year.
No. I won't say that, no.
So you're not attributing the water level to Bagre Dam at all?
No, I'm not.
I'm saying this because there's a statement the VRA has, let me just read it to you. Sonabel, the power utility of Burkina Faso, has advised the Volta River Authority that due to high inflows into the Bagre Dam, high reservoir elevations have been recorded, which have necessitated spillage of water from the Bagre Dam. Consequently, the water levels of the White Volta and its tributaries are expected to rise with the spill discharge from the Bagre Dam, coupled with high rainfall in the northern parts of the country. This means that areas along the White Volta River especially are at high risk of flooding. Accordingly, all stakeholders, residents, chiefs, opinion leaders, security agencies, as well as general public are to take note of the flood alert and take necessary precautions to avoid being adversely affected by the spillage. VRA will continue to monitor the situation. This is a statement the VRA issued on September 5.
Yes.
So how are you telling me that this is not part of the reason why your water is high?
That is very true.
No. Do you follow where I'm going? I'm saying that once you are...
Yes, I follow.
Yeah, so...
I'm following what you are saying.
So the White Volta will have more water because of Bagre Dam, coupled with more rain, which your statement says. That means that you knew the water level in your dam was going to go higher.
But then, as I said earlier on, every year the Bagre Dam is open. They always get...
Oh my God. I don't know what's happening. I'm having internet problems Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't open our gates because Bagre Dam has opened their gates. No, we don't do that. We take that water into our reservoir. We are saying that the volume of water in the dam, as at beginning of this year, was a bit high, because we were able to use the water in the dam effectively and efficiently. So we had quite a number of water in the dam. Per the projections given to us, we knew that we'll get to our maximum level in the dam with the El Nino prediction that was given by all the weather stations across the world. So we know we'll get to our maximum level. But with the probability that we may switch the wet weather, then we have to make sure that we are ready to open up the gate to allow these waters to flow. That's why we started with the control spilling of 20,000, hoping that the rains will subside and then we can close this gate. But the rains were not subsiding. They were coming and there were huge volumes coming in. So we have to increase the gate.
Final point on this, and I really thank you for your forbearance. For those of us who don't understand engineering, water is your fuel that you use to generate the power. So in the past, we've had low generation because the water is low. So if the water is high, you would think that you would just generate more power, right? So how come the water is so much, you can't use it? Why can't you use the excess water to generate more power? Is it not as simple as that? Why do you have to spill it?
Okay. As I said, the dam is designed in such a way, when you run all the 6 machines, you discharge about 51,000 cubic feet of water per second. That is the design of the dam.
Okay.
So if you are running all the 6 machines, that is how much water you can spill out of it. And we are doing all the 6 machines as we speak now. We are running all the 6 machines. And we are going to run 6 machines all the way through even next year. That is our plan for the generation plan for next year. But if the volumes coming in and the room left for you in the dam, you look at the volumes coming, the room left, and the amount of water that is going through your turbines. Then you have to we have what we call the tracking or curves that we normally track. We follow them as the water comes. We track and see where would the level gets to per this track. This is where you get to. So per the track, we saw that, look, if you track as you are tracking, this is going beyond the maximum operating level of the dam. And for us to make sure that we bring the water to that nominal operation level of the dam, we have to spill this quantity of water for us to get to that level. But the water was still coming, so we have to increase the spillage. That's why we find ourselves where we are today.
Thank you. I know you have a busy day tomorrow. Let me let you sleep a bit so that you jump on your chopper again tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Engineer Edward Obinkenzo. Thank you. Deputy VRA CEO. Great job. When we come back, Umaru Sanders joined us. Professor Chris Gordon is also on the call, and I have a few questions for him as well. Umaru Sanders went to the Shai Osudoku constituency, and he came out with some very serious stories. He claims that he saw water on top of coconut trees. I don't know how he did that, but we'll deal with that when we come back. Stay with us.
Whatever the occasion, with ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Here goes Goodman's son, it's low!
And it's a goal! Is it? VAR? Goal disallowed? Unbelievable. From the tension in the dugout to the sweat on the field, it all comes together in the studio on Friday night.
Hold on. Are you going where I think you are going? Coach, you are going there. Look.
Whether it's boxing, athletics, or football, Sports Panorama has you covered. From the prayer of the rabbi.
Numo, commit us into the house of God.
To the sound of Donkomi, the most riveting sports show on the airwaves, will have you at rapt attention, entertained, and in bouts of laughter from start to finish. Sports Panorama is on 97.3 City FM from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. every Friday.
Welcome back. We're still on the point of view. Tonight we're giving you the aftermath of the spillage. 2 dams have been spilled there. Akosombo Dam at Akosombo, and then the Kpon Dam as well. My guest in studio, Umaru Sandamadu, is here. And of course, Fred Duho. We have Professor Chris Gordon, who's on the line. I'll talk to him shortly. I just want to wrap up briefly here. Sanda, so where did you go?
So when I went to the Shai Osudoku district, I did a quick detour through the Lower Manya district in the eastern region before entering Shai Osudoku. The reason is that when the water gates are opened from Akosombo, the first people who suffer, apart from Ablakwa's constituency, which is North Tong, you would go through Shai Osudoku before you descend to Central Tong and then South Tong. So we decided to go and look at what's happening there. The thing is that the Dangme people share the Volta River with the Ewe people. So in fact, Tong just means river bank. But there are a lot of Dangme people involved in them. These are the Shai people. So we went to see what the impact is. Akuse, initial days, huge impact. Asuchare, initial days, huge impact. Now, Asuchare is a rice growing farm, so water shouldn't be a problem for them, but except when the water becomes too much. And that's what I actually recognize. Now, there's a peculiar problem with Asuchare Ghana Water Company has cut water supply there. It's a community sanitation agency that supplies them water. It has been submerged. As a result, the people have to rely on water from the canals that were meant to feed the rice farms. So that is one problem. Now, when you continue and go into the Asuchari Township inside itself, you realize that people are devastated. I mean, their homes are submerged, and they've had to
in the initial days of the spillage, it was flooded. But as the water went downstream, it dried up a bit.
Good. It's dried up a bit, but it still doesn't look good. So, for instance, there's a place that I saw. It's supposed to be someone's backyard where they come to relax in the afternoon. That whole place is occupied. So there are trees that have been planted, coconut trees, where they usually would sit in the afternoon and relax. There are dry lines. All of that. And Bernard,
There's water taking over the whole place.
I saw water as high as a coconut tree. And I said that you could
proper coconut tree.
A proper coconut tree. So, and the funny thing, and if I had a shot there, I could just show you. The contrast is there are two trees there, one that is not submerged and one that is submerged. And you should see the height of the submerged one. Completely gone. So
as high as a coconut tree?
Yes, so it's almost like you can actually pluck the fruit if you were standing on the water. If you took a canoe, you can just pluck the fruit. And I don't know if we have that.
So the canoe was on top of the water and the coconut fruit.
Yes. So
you could pick it as if you are picking something.
It's the same level. That's how high the water has gone. Another thing, people's bathrooms, people's toilets, the water has entered, and that same water will return into the Volta River. And then it goes, you know what the consequences. Asuchari is known for tilapia farming. The Chinese people have done a lot of tilapia farms there. Even private people have gone there to do tilapia farms. Because of the huge volumes, the barricade that they created has broken. So the tilapia
have escaped
free. And what happens? The local fishermen, they have decided, oh, then it is cocoa season. Let's go into the water. And you see people who have come there with basins, as in Okolo,
looking for tilapia.
Because, Charlie, there's free tilapia.
The Chinese tilapia farms have been devastated.
It has escaped. So let's just go for the kill.
So the farms have destroyed?
The fish farms have been destroyed. So that is one problem with the economic side of things. Then I decided to move beyond Asuchari because there are areas like Volivo, Dofo, Avuvienu, all these places, Avakpo, all of them, they've had their own share. But the hardest hit areas is an area known as Abuvienu. Now, this is near Jokpo. The people there have had to leave. The entire community, they've fled.
The whole community had to leave?
They fled. And the assembly has told them that go to a school called Tokpo DA Primary School. That is a relief center. Let's go there and go and find peace. So people have been there since Friday. And these are whole families. I interviewed a guy named Israel. He said his family is about 15. Everybody had to run away from the place. They've left nothing behind. They've lost everything. Their beds, their television, their homes, their livestock, chickens, everything gone. So that's where I encountered...
So this is the coconut tree?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get this. So you see how high the water is. And this is just someone's balcony. So this coconut tree is supposed to be a place where you can just relax under this tree there.
My God.
And now look at how high it has gone up.
So they've left the house?
They had to. They had no choice.
And this is Asuchari?
This is Asuchari.
Do you have shots from the school that they are supposed to take shelter for that village?
Yes. So we're going to the school now. The interesting thing with the school is that it is a basic school. It's supposed to be a relief center. But Bernard, you know how our public schools are. There's no furniture in the classroom. There are no windows. So that's an entirely different story, and that's what you are looking at.
So this is where different families have come to? This is where
different families have come. So this woman here with her children, see what they can manage to put together to feed.
Gary and Pepe.
And that is a struggle that they are going through. And they've been here since Friday.
So this is a school that they've come to sleep in?
This is a school. I'll get you a wider shot where this is like the most, if you listen to the sound, if you just want to listen to the sound.
Yes, let's hear them.
Oh, there's a mosquito net. Belongings have been packed by the wall. Clearly, these are people who are on a voyage, even some of them. So she's just eating and then sharing with her children, sitting on a desk, a school desk, that is. Some people have turned here into their rooms. Let me just look at it. Okay. All right, so maybe this is the most comfortable of the rooms I'm seeing so far, but it's nothing really. A straw mat on the floor. There's a mosquito net. Belongings have been packed by the wall. Clearly, these are people who are on a voyage. Even some of the bags or the sacks have not been opened yet or untied. Clearly,
these people basically just fled from their homes to the school.
They fled. And Bernard, there's a sad part. So the issue about where they will lay their heads, I encountered a pregnant woman. She's 8 months into her pregnancy. And she says that she had to run away and leave her home in Avafienu. Everything is gone completely. Now, I speak to her there, and
let's hear her.
Yes.
We have it. Let's hear her.
So Mavis is a pregnant woman. Yeah, be a funonya. Hello,
we my dear one Ketanya Mojota, Beshit, Hoyoko, Mujan, yet I met them for a quota, a Beshit to Romalanic ballet, a Judon.
Yellow Yimo. I found them a
Yahamacli, Nyom.
Nuka Dibina one if you.
I know Pogbonya, Tonya beg them at Tasha, Besega Bakli, and Kumama last Yota. No Pogbonya, no Pomyebo.
Jinuna Nankevio.
Jinua and Yemen Kimmel.
So she's in her 8th month of pregnancy, and she says she will need support because she never knows when she's going to put to bed. Now, this is one of many stories. Looking at where they sleep, and this is perhaps the most comfortable. This used to be called Chacha, where I grew up. I don't know what it's called. It's a straw mat, and someone has managed to get a student mattress. I'm going to call mattress.
So, are you saying they sleep here?
Yes, that's where they sleep.
But there's no window.
No, you are talking about window. Bernard, and there are like 700 people I saw over there.
Are you kidding me? Yes. 700 people in the school?
So in fact, I interviewed the headmaster. I don't know if they have the headmaster would tell you how they had to receive
700 people sleeping in classrooms without windows?
Classrooms without windows. So in the afternoon, they spend time under the trees, you know, the big trees that are planted on school compounds. That's where they are. In the evening, they just come and then sleep. So they are asking for all support. They want mosquito coils, mosquito nets. They want food. They want water. Because
was this a designated shelter? Because where you went in St. Kizito was a designated shelter.
Exactly the case.
But this one, was it?
It's designated too. The assembly told them to go there.
To the school?
Yes, so that's why they are all there. So the headmaster says to me that he'd had to stop other children from coming to school except GSS 3. I don't know. I think they are preparing for exams.
So this, what do they have? What do they need? The people there?
They said they need water. It's very fundamental for them because I've told you already, water challenges in that community is a problem. So they have to go and fetch water from a stream. Not even a stream. It used to be a bridge, but because the water has overflowed, that whole road is actually cut off. And if you see the full picture later, you'll see how it looks like. So they want water, they want food, they want beds, they want comfortable.
So they were sleeping on.
They sleep on the floor. So they lay their clothes on the ground.
So what are mosquitoes?
Forget mosquitoes. They are everywhere.
But there's water there, so there's going to be a lot of mosquitoes.
So, I mean, mosquitoes usually would breed in waterlogged areas. So there's enough water for them to do what they have to do and then move in there. So the windows have no curtains covering them.
Do they have mosquito nets?
They have. That's only mosquito net I saw when I went.
The only mosquito net was the one you showed me.
And there are so many classrooms. So it's like GHS and primary school. You can imagine.
Where did they attend nature's call?
Good. I asked that question of the headmaster. I think we can just play the
Let's hear the
headmaster.
Interview. Wow. Show me the headmaster, please.
I have to let some of them stay home, whilst the GHS, especially the Form 3, stay around for teachers to assist them because of the need for the people to use the classroom.
So they sleep in your classroom, they live. How has it been like hosting them in the school?
It has been a little difficult task because the windows, as you can see, the classrooms are without windows and doors. Even the floors, the classrooms has no floors, and it's quite a difficult task, but there's no other means, so that is why they are using.
Who brought them here?
The assemblyman asked them to leave, so they manage their way here. Yeah, they find their own way to this place.
Do people bring them food or anything?
Yeah, once I think the Volta River authorities were here, but what they brought was just scanty, it was few, it wasn't enough for them.
How many days have they been here for? Since they moved to this place as shelter?
This is going to be the fourth night.
Fourth night, since they came here. And so they sleep in the open.
Yeah.
Because your windows are not covered.
Yes.
I noticed that your classroom doesn't even have furniture, which is a story that we'll talk about at a separate time. But it is serving as a good place for them to sleep.
Yes.
How does that affect your own educational?
Honestly, it is going to affect us. That is why I don't want even the GHS to stay, no matter the situation, because it would disturb their future. And so whilst we take care of the victims to survive, we also have to struggle for the future of.
Wow. So Sandra says 700 people in this school.
So that's what they said to me.
St. Kizito, how many people were there?
Over 1,000.
Is it? But do they have windows?
They don't have windows. And they are sleeping.
They also don't have mosquito nets.
Someone is sleeping on the floor, just like you've seen over here. I mean, it's an issue that has cut across the entire.
So it's rainy season. There's water in the area.
Exactly.
No windows. They couldn't salvage their beds.
Not at
so some are sleeping on achacha.
Yes.
And there are kids involved, women and all
kids,
of that.
Babies. I mean, the person I saw today, a lady who gave birth just 2 days.
2 days?
And then the water came in. So she had no option than to fight for her life and that of her baby. So
did you see NADMO where you went?
No, there was no NADMO there today, but they said to me NADMO had come previously and has promised to return tomorrow.
What did NADMO give them?
They couldn't point to much. They just said food. You heard the headmaster saying that something was brought, but it was very scanty.
All right.
That's the word that the headmaster used.
Viewers, we are raising money. We want water. We want food, which is canned food. We want bed. We are requesting bed sheets, blankets, mosquito nets, anything you can get, or money. We will go to the communities you've gone to give them. I really am devastated by the place you just went to. So if you can, all of you, retrace your steps, by end of week, we have to go back there. We need water, sachet or bottled. We need food, canned or bagged. We need mattresses, blankets, toiletries, medical supplies. If there are 700 people in that school, imagine an articulated track of sachet water, at least blankets and mosquito nets. That can be a temporary thing, right?
Even St. Kizito, for instance, when NADMO came, or the government initiative that was touted so much today, what I saw with my eyes, a bowl, a bucket, 3 pieces of toilet rolls, 3 oil bottles, 2 tin tomatoes, and a tin of I think sardine or tinapa, and that is all. That is what they are supposed to live on until another relief.
And this given per family?
Per a household. So if your household, you have like 10 or even 15 people.
So what did they give them again? Can you repeat?
3 pieces of toilet rolls.
3 toilet rolls.
2 tin tomatoes.
Tin tomatoes, 2.
3 bottles of oil. A bowl, and 2 plastic cups. And the whole situation is there. I mean,
was there rice?
There is rice, but from what I see, it is just not sufficient for them. Because one of the affected victims I spoke with mentioned to me that they've been there for 5 days. And I asked, what did NADMO bring to them? He mentioned that they brought 5 kg of rice for 53 people.
You know what?
5 kg of rice for 53
people in one classroom.
But I know what I think, because Mefe is like the epicenter.
Everybody
goes there, but people have forgotten about other areas.
So from
like
all the way from Akosombo down, you think there are communities which are like where you went?
There are so many other communities like that, but because we haven't seen the visuals like we are seeing. For instance, I even brought you videos of buildings in water like Fred has gone to get. So it's easier to gravitate there. But then you're leaving these people who have had to flee. In fact, on my way to the community, I ran into about 12 women who were, just walking briskly and running. So we paused the car and I said, Ghanemi, where are you going to? They said, Obemiava. They said we should come there and that there's going to be support for us. And when I went, there was no support. But there was one cooking pot, what we call that, for everybody there. So the woman said to me, when I finish cooking, I'll wash it. The next person will mash the agbelimo and put it inside. And also
one cooking pot for all the people in that
school? So the women are just there. So there's one cook pot, and there's agbelimo, and there's one cooking pot. So when I finish, and I have that video on video, then the next person would also do this.
You know what? Let me take a break. When I come out, I'll talk to the professor. He will explain what this means for all of us. It's quite devastating, honestly. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Professor Chris Gordon, I know you're on the line. I'll talk to you when we come back. Thank you for staying. This is the point of view. Stay with us.
Finally, anyone can become a house owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated funds, such as savings towards a house. Simple and opportunity to play. Visit www.ugoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. Ugoflip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Welcome back. So tonight we're trying to give you a sense of the devastation in the places downstream of the Volta Lake. I've been speaking to Fred Duho and Umaru Sandamado. I'm Professor Chris Gordon, founder and former director of the Institute of Environmental and Sanitation Studies, Eugene. Prof, the whole thing leaves a bad taste in my mouth. What do you make of what you've heard so far, before we even get to the science of it? What do you make of all you've heard from my reporters and for the whole day?
Well, Bernard, I think, first of all, I'd like to express my deep sorrow to all those people who have been affected in diverse ways from the spillage. This is a catastrophic event. And when we talk about disasters, we talk about preparedness, and the last is recovery. And it's going to take not years, but decades for people's lives to come back on track, even if they can come back on track. Because people have lost possessions, they're losing days of education, they've lost clinics, infrastructure. It's a livelihood. It's a terrible thing that has happened. As I said, I have my deep sympathy, and Bernard, you know, I don't like to make public my support for city charitable events, so you and I will talk about this later. But I think this is a national emergency far beyond the ability of government or NATMO to cope with. So we need to rally as a nation to support those people who have been displaced. I'd like to make a submission. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to ask you to now segue into how a humanitarian crisis could become a health crisis, and then all the other spin-offs. So just shoot.
Okay. Well, I had sort of planned a submission into 3 parts. Now, I'd end up with environmental and health issues. The first thing I'd like to talk about is people don't appreciate the size of the Volta Lake. The Volta Lake is actually bigger than at least 3 countries on this planet. The surface area is larger than 30 countries in this world. The length, 400 kilometers, width 25, the volume of water in that lake is sufficient to give 2 sachet water to everybody on this planet for 40 years. If you calculate this by the large tankers, if you put them in a row of 10 and add to them, it can go to the moon and back about 12 times. It's a huge amount of water that dam is holding back. And as a result, anything that could compromise either overtopping or cracking that dam would have such severe ramifications downstream. So it is imperative that the Akosombo Dam, be maintained and preserved by the steps that the VRA is taking. You made some comments about the Bagri Dam and the White Volta. We have a residence time of the Volta of around 4 years. Basically, when water enters the top part of the dam, that water which enters the top will come out of the penstocks, the spillways, in about 4 years. So yes, there may be an additional surge of water later on in the year, but at this point in time, the Bagri Dam will not be contributing to the spillage. Now, we have to also put this in the context of planning. Climate change is real. Climate change affects everything. Floods do not have political allegiance. They don't wear party colors. It impacts everybody. Policy needs to be supported by evidence. You can only get evidence if you carry out research. Currently, the country spends less than 0.38% of its GDP on supporting research. If you don't do the research, you cannot get the data. If you don't have data, you cannot plan. It's the story of for the want of the shoe, the nail, the shoe was lost until the battle was lost. The final thing I would make as a general comment is that the vital infrastructure of this country needs to be climate-proofed, which means that the plans we made 25, 20 years ago are no longer appropriate. They need to be redrawn, recalculated based on the current data. Now, on the issue of environment and health implications, well, your reporters have done a good effort in reporting some of the issues that we are going to face. People have talked about the pollution on the beaches, because all the rubbish, all the solid waste that was in the areas being flooded are now being carried to the sea. And as a result of that, we're going to have implications on our fish. So what I'm saying is that there's going to be a cascading set of problems as a result of the flooding and the spillage. On the environment side, we are losing our biodiversity. Species that cannot escape will get flooded and will die. And please, if you're thinking of using canoe to go and collect coconuts because the coconuts are at the level of your remember, that is a safe haven for snakes now. Many snakes will move to any high ground that they have. And when you have snakes and people together, you're going to have snake bite. The problem of health is very complicated because all of these agricultural lands usually have got a certain amount of agrochemicals, pesticides, fertilizer. All of these things have been now mobilized, now moving in the water. As for the human feces, let me say it, the human shit that we scatter through open defecation, through KVIPs, which are not properly maintained, soakways and manholes, which are not covered. This is all adding to the cocktail, I think I like that word, the cocktail of pollution that is floating around. And as people have said, people are having to use that water for domestic purpose. So in contrast to what you have said, and I think it's Amari's said, what we need is water. But it is far more efficient to move water purification tablets, which are used in situations like this in other parts of the world, than moving articulators full of water. Yes, we should do that. But it's far faster and more efficient to send, even with zipline, tablets that we can put in water in a gallon. We know we put 2 tablets, it will kill off all the virus and bacteria. It has some chemical inside which will take out the sediment, so the sediment is at the bottom, I think this will be more efficient. But the disaster management people know all about this. But so let's look at the health. You have the human waste. And apart from the acute events such as the drowning and the trauma caused by drowning, and nobody seems to be mentioning people living with disabilities. If you cannot move away from the water, if you are bedridden and trapped in your house, and as you can see from the pictures, it's up to the lintel level, how can that person escape? How can toddlers who can barely move, babies, and then you have a woman with 3 children under 5, how is she going to manage to move those children and move whatever possessions that are valuable to the safe haven, what you're calling the designated areas? These are safe havens that were identified in case of flood by the VRA. But apart from the acute issues and issues of people living with disability, you also have those who have non-communicable diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, who now no longer have access to their health care. And some of these diseases, all you need is one traumatic event, and then you're gone. And you've shown pictures of mortuaries which are already underwater. So when the people pass, where will they go? There's no power even for the cold rooms. So the health infrastructure is also being damaged. So all those areas which had microscopes for checking malaria, X-ray machines, refrigerators for vaccines, they're all destroyed. Then you come to something that we don't consider, that is the mental health. A lot of people who are facing these things will go into acute depression, have anxiety, they're going to have post-traumatic stress disorder. So apart from the immediate work you're doing as city in terms of supplying immediate relief items, we also have to think about how we can bring people who can help counsel, how people to bring people back from losing everything. Their whole life has gone in a flash. How do they get back to terms to restart their lives? And finally, and perhaps this is the worst, is the issue of infection. So you have this cocktail of bacteria, viruses, and pollutants floating around. If you have a minor abrasion or cut, next thing you know, you have some sort of infection on the skin. Humid conditions, you have fungal infections. With the crowding that is happening in these places, 700 people, 1,000 people in one school, that means you're going to have problems of respiratory diseases because of crowding. We haven't even got to the main problem, which is the gastroenteric diseases, cholera, enteric fever, dysentery, because we don't have proper management of human waste. And finally, of course, we have all those zoonotic diseases. Now you have animals and people living very close, so you're going to have a possibility of cross-infection, and then you have all the vector-borne diseases, malaria, you name it, is going to be there. Anything that can be transmitted through water-related diseases is going to happen. And finally, of course, as I mentioned, snake bites.
Bro, it's a cocktail. Thank you so much for talking. Look, I don't even know what to say. It's terrible, but thank you for being so lucid and for being so comprehensive. And I hope this galvanizes all of us to get involved. I'm updating my list of what we need. I'm adding the water purification tablet. And we are going to go back to the communities. Fred tells me there's so many more communities that they visited that are not even on the list the VRA gave. Where Sanda went to is not on the list. And there's so many communities like, is it, Kokontekpeji and all those places. So there's a lot of work to do, but thank you so much. Victoria, if you can put the announcement on the screen one last time. The mobile number is 05509 00006. We are giving ourselves at least a week to raise as much as we can. And the same reporters who covered this, Fred, Charles, Umaru, we will go back and see what we can do to support. But this is a national effort, and I think Prof has been clear. The government alone cannot do this. All of us must get involved to do everything we can to save as many people as we can. And we pray also that the water level doesn't keep rising, because the engineer told me that the water level is now 277.32. So it's no longer at 0.25. So thank you all for being. Umaru Sandamadu, thank you. Fred Duho, thank you. Engineer Kenzo Obeng, thank you. And Professor Chris Gordon, thank you so much. Viewers, thank you for watching the show. We'll be with you next time. Bye-bye.